From Wayne Gretzky hockey to Ghostwire Tokyo, Bethesda Game Studios have published games. Fallout 4 is considered by most critics to be one of those games. Can you beat Fallout 4 as an Assaultron? To address the elephant in the room, the hat on a hat, so to speak, we should probably cover some ground rules and a few safe words. On screen is a detailed rule set, but the main idea is that I am an Assaultron. I cannot begin the main quest without looking like an Assaultron, and I cannot deal damage with weapons unavailable to an Assaultron. I also won't be able to use healing items or chems, because stimpacks and radaway are to robots what chocolate and bullet wounds are to dogs. Anyone who blamed their little sister for putting maple syrup in the VCR will understand why food and drinks are not allowed either. Also, I will be limiting how often I speak to humans and only buy from robot vendors. It doesn't take a geneticist to know that bioorganic life forms will overcharge for goods and steal your bicycle. Just stick to the other steel skins when possible. I entered the world a robot trapped in a woman's body, living alone with my husband and boyfriend. Stood motionless while commenting on objects behind me. Sometimes I lag in the mornings. Taught a salesman the meaning of no. My husband said he'd do something. That's always a lie from him. Named myself Sam. It's an acronym for Samuela, not Samantha. This character is loosely based off jazz musician Samuela Fitzgerald. Dumped all my stats into endurance and agility with a smidgen of luck. I need the luck for Idiot Savant. I need the agility because Assaultrons are about as quick as Acoustic the Porcupine. I don't remember what that was supposed to mean. Lastly, I need the endurance to overcome my penicillin allergy. You see, I plan to make the most green robot to date. A robot powered entirely by the sun and nuclear radiation. To do that, I'll need 10 endurance. Tried to run away from my responsibilities. Didn't work. They caught up. Got in an elevator to the vault. Immediately established dominance with the other inmates. This isn't my first trip to Disney World, if you smell what I'm saying. Got denied my Fourth Amendment right to the buddy system, and then entered the robotic Hot Pocket to be the creamy center in a futuristic toaster strudel. One of those Star Wars cyborgs killed my husband and saved me the trouble of divorce. Here is where I encountered the first of many issues. I live what some call an alternative lifestyle. I prefer to play Fallout 4 on the very hard difficulty. It's not what someone would call politically correct, but it's how I prefer to live. On any other playthrough, this section is a cakewalk. However, at the moment, I'm like a turtle without its shell. Soft and surprisingly vulnerable to parasites and scavengers. The radroaches here posed a significant threat. But just like that time at conversion therapy, I was able to employ some Far Cry level stealth techniques and escape without killing anyone. Took the elevator out of the vault, had a quick nap, read a book for the first and last time. Now to address the obvious issues. The Pop-Tart in the play place. If you've been paying attention, it's likely, which is actually impossible right now. I checked. Scrapping Sanctuary, then got the Idiot Savant perk, and proceeded to make fence posts, shelves, rugs, and mats from here to Red Rocket until I got the notification. Made my way to Hertz Donuts and came across a lone robot fighting a gang of hooligans. I thought they had it handled. Turns out they did not. The hooligans misread the situation as me wanting to participate. I spent a brief period as a corpse. Tried to assist my fellow machine. Whenever they were downed, I would run in with my super speed and lure the robots away. It was just like that scene in Wreck-It Ralph Endgame, but if you imagined me instead of Pac-Man. Took a quick nap mid-fight. The last robot died for his god and the fight was inexplicably over. My new tech mom, Ada, promised to take me under her wing if we can find a copy of Christian Bale's The Machinist. Meta Man in power armor. Took the key from the ignition and proceeded on my way. Got to General Atomics, and it was like high school all over again as I hid in the bathroom stalls waiting for robot bullies to leave me alone. If you think I'm close to being able to fight, you're silly. All the items I need to present on the outside how I feel on the inside don't become available until the second one of Ada's missions. Realizing it's going to be impossible to complete this quest in the pacifist sense, I returned to the man in his previously powered armor. This section was pain. I have 4 hours of footage of me dying and struggling through here. Eventually, I ended up just cheesing the whole encounter. I would rush in, wait for Ada to be downed, run outside where Ada was healed, and then repeat the process. It got slightly easier when some of the bots started dropping repair kits. I still cannot heal at this point. My only means of healing are piezonucleic. If I stand in radiation, I can charge my health, but I can still die of radiation. As far as I know, I won't be able to heal my radiation until level 31, so with 16 levels left, I needed to be real strategic-like. Ada did surprisingly well, but not too well. The Robo-Brain reminded me how low on the food chain I was. Got lucky when it spawned inside this room I was too stupid to unlock. At some point, Ada dealt the final blow. I stopped caring a few minutes prior, so I missed it. Went to Fort Hagen Satellite Array, got killed. Mommy stepped in and beat up the neighborhood kids while I played in the street. Todd Howard had other plans, though. I thought I had had enough pain, but Daddy said no. Turned out all the items I need, which should be located here at the satellite array, only appear when I've activated a certain mission, which is the mission I'm currently on. That being said, they only appear if I've done the first half of the quest. Somehow weaseled my way to Diamond City, paused the challenge momentarily to talk to Piper. This was slightly an issue. Turns out Diamond City likes her marginally more than they do sentient death robots. Racists. Found my target and was introduced to the dangers of modding. See, children, most people in the competitive online can you play video game competitions, tests, and puzzles YouTube video community, should have named that something shorter, the general consensus seems to be a clean install for their games, that somehow modded games defeat the purpose of the challenge. I disagree. Currently all the mods I have installed either make the game harder or prettier, and if the mods make the challenge harder, I see no reason to deactivate them. I won't be using items not from the vanilla game. You see, Bethesda games are like a package of nondescript Legos. They give you all the tools to build your own fun game. No two Bethesda games should be alike. They should all crash and softlock in their own special ways. Collectors refer to this as patina, and to clean it would diminish the value. What was I talking about? Oh, the stupid behemoth. Normally there's a behemoth that lurks around here and it's not that big of a deal, except all the behemoths in my game have 4 times health and the legendary modifier. I decided to get 2 birds stoned at once. I angered the behemoth and used his blind fury to accomplish my goal. The behemoth didn't appreciate being used and killed me. I did the same exact thing again and it worked. That's a life lesson. Never try. Went back to the satellite array and into the basement. Tried to do things legit. Got killed. Never do things the legal way if you can help it. Sick of not being able to fight back, I did what 13 states in the Union consider to be a felony and clipped into the treasure room so I could finally receive my Assaultron sword and laser. I went back topside to search corpses for robot armor, found my Assaultron mask but was too stupid to record it. Finally, the robot I was always meant to be, I stormed into the basement ready to show the humans who the superior machine is. So here's the thing about the Assaultron laser. Every shot deals 50 rads to me. This is nice because radiation is the only way I can heal. This is not so nice because I still won't be able to heal my radiation until level 31, so I've got to balance my health and my rads. It's also near impossible to aim when fully charged as the aura blocks the iron sights. Luckily, in my 15 levels to unlock the Mechanist DLC, I used several points on the Big League Chew graffiti grape flavor so I could receive bonuses to melee attacks. Met Ahab and became his white whale. By white whale I mean I was his O.J. Simpson, which means I was the sole focus of his attention for a brief period. What you might call his own personal Saddam Hussein, because I killed everyone he ever knew. Found a poisonous ivy. She had a gun with a special ability to damage my frame rate. She killed me. Unfortunately for her, I was prepared to die for hours. I think she was tired because she eventually laid down and stopped living. I stripped her metal flesh and was on my way. Back at Red Rocket, I dealt with the only emotional dilemma I have ever faced. On one hand, I was all geared up to start the challenge. On the other hand, Ada taught me everything I know about being a robot. To bail on her would be a severe misuse of her trust. I stopped by Cleo and Goodneighbor for ammo, because I was helping Ada to get her murder on. Don't freak out. Ada dies in the end. Here's the thing. If you've been counting, then you know we're already 8 paragraphs into this thing, and I haven't even started the main quest. To save time, I'm not going to tell you about every time I went back to Red Rocket so I could sit on the charger. I'll spare you every trip to Clio for ammo, and I'll also spare you with most of what happened at the Mechanist lair alongside most of what will happen. There's only really one important thing that happened here. I was not going to tell you, but you've been such a good little trash panda, I wanted to make this Easter special. I found a radiation shower. My very own MacGuffin. If I was a lawyer, I just had the gotcha moment in a legal debate with my own internal monologue. In real life, decontamination showers work by washing irradiated particles off of you. They cannot heal you from the effects of radiation damage. However, that is not the case in the Fallout universe. Also, I saw other robots go through similar showers. I would make occasional use of these showers between now and level 31. A total of 4 times to be exact, if I had to guess a rough estimation. Just because I had robot flesh and weapons did not mean I was some sort of action Gerald. Christian Bale and his fully autonomous sex dolls had their way with me. I received numerous spankings with my own Hot Wheels tracks. What happened next shocked me. Gaben must have activated a steam sail in my brain because I somehow beat the Mechanist. Turns out they were actually just a robot trapped in a woman's body. What a stupid character backstory. I accidentally stimpacked myself, so I had to revert to a previous save from before killing the Mechanist. I must have forgotten to record the second encounter, but things got wonky. I hadn't so much broken the game as I had sprained it. My screen did something really stupid. Angry at the game, I took my aggression out on Power Man and his stupid brats. With Christian Bale and his robots stopped, I could give Ada a proper Viking burial before saying goodbye. Killed the raiders and conquered, and finally started to feel like a proper Assaultron. I somehow broke the Minutemen. Either that or they realized a sentient death robot would be a poor ally, which might be for the best. I planned on killing all the humans after the main story was done. That was supposed to be a surprise, so thank you, Preston. A raider corpse lent me a hand in transporting goods. On my way to Park Street Station, a green meanie stood between me and progress. He learned a valuable lesson on interfering with something I'm mildly interested in. Nothing significant happened inside of Park Street Station. I chewed through the triggermen like a military death robot fighting half-corpses and was met with possibly the most offensive thing to my eyes. A robot that looks like a human. The absolute internalized biology on this bot. I begrudgingly rescued the half-breed and escorted him out of Park Street Station. Normally, I only talk to people who are 100% bot, but I need this Jamocha shake so I can fight Battle Creek's finest. Uncle Tetra Not Mecha tried to save Prima before I demonstrated my thoughts on humanity. Back in Ciudad Diamond, I met another robot I could safely trade with. Shed my exoskeleton for this exact shot, which underlines the duality of man. On one side, you have a woman sitting next to what she envies the most, a robot. Across from her is Nick Valentine sitting next to what he envies the most, somebody comfortable in a dress. God damn it, Todd Howard, could you be any more poetic? During the course of my conversation with a human and half-human, they talked me into home invasion. Shocking. The moment Nick started talking to some sort of overgrown rat was when I decided I would go to Fort Hagen myself. Cleared the fort of synths, only to learn that I have to talk to the filthy beast at least once. That's the last time I'll ever take initiative. Spoke with the dog. Forgot how stairs work. Went into the fort. The dog didn't get the memo, so I told him to kick rocks. I made short work of the synths that stood between me and Dr. John Kellogg, creator of cornflakes. Did you know? He made cornflakes to stop people from masturbating. He called it the cereal equivalent of a cold shower, stating, "Have you ever tried getting aroused with soggy chunks of cord in your mouth? It's impossible. Maybe if there was a whole banana, but who could afford that?" Told the good doctor that I would be in shortly. I took a 1-hour nap before my appointment. Only a handful of words left his mouth before I turned him into a pile of those really small Cheez-Its you find at the bottom of a bag of Nabrisco brand Cheez-Its. Like a really, really small Cheez-It that would be big for an ant. Imagine those made out of Kellogg's cornflakes. Stepped outside to find a man obviously compensating for something. Went to Good Neighbor. Sat down for a movie. It was a psychological thriller. Was told I needed to go to the glowing sea. I instead took a detour to collect some dolls. I thought they'd be imperative for survival. Later found out they weren't. Unalived Carla and tried to unalive her Brahmin. Somehow, the Brahmin formed an alliance with my Poles. In the end, they couldn't protect him. Stopped at a comic shop for the latest Grognek. They didn't have it, and people wonder why brick and mortar stores are failing. Got trapped by a legendary swan. I had to wait in the car till Mom got back. The kids at DB Technical High School razzed me about my shirt. None of them survived. A giant zombie pitched me down the street, and I was ready for the glowing sea. Got lost when I forgot I had a mod installed that added more locations to the glowing sea. Just like in real life, I was more scared of the bugs than they were of me, and I struggled an extra 20 minutes to find that stupid cave. Inside the cave, I bullied some freak, fast-traveled to Green Tech Genetics, and fought an army of gunners. Finally, a real challenge. It was the showdown of the century. Man versus machine. The machine won. I made it to the top of the building where I met the courser. Finally, a real challenge. It was the showdown of the century. Man-machine versus machine. The machine won. I killed all the witnesses. I'm taking my secrets to the grave. Got lost in a cul-de-sac on my way to Cambridge Police. Got greedy on a level up. I wanted the Idiot Savant bonus, but my last save was Green Tech Genetics. Got entirely lost the second time. Threw down with Grognek on a busted up building. Finally reached level 27. Now a solar-powered robot, I'm capable of healing entirely on my own. And this is where the real game begins. Met a sentry bot who didn't understand the meaning of no. Chicago Ted thought he could best the might of an Assaultron. He could not. Met a strange robot man and his human captives. Turns out he hates half-bots as much as I do, so I agreed to help him out. Let's talk about why I'm siding with the Brotherhood. The character quirk of this build is robo-supremacy. The way I interpret that is this. The Institute wishes to make machines more like man, a notion that belittles machine supremacy. The Brotherhood wants a clear line between man and machine. To describe that with more attractive language, the Brotherhood believes in segregation. I can get behind that. We can disagree on the whole humans deserve to live thing, but we're in agreement that there's a clear difference between superior robots and stupid monkeys. Raced Dance to ArcJet. Did all the heavy lifting into the dungeon. I really struggled on this terminal. Took a gamble when I saw Paul. Why I thought the vice president of a sometimes Christian official Ratatouille fan server would help me is beyond me. Helen Kellered a bunch of synths. There's no asterisk here. I'll tell you why in a second. Found the deep vein thrombosis and was off to the Pride Parade. Inside of the Dutch oven, John Seed indoctrinated me into the cult. I met the class of 2008 and was told I'd be taking the short bus for this field trip. The problem is, I cannot take a vertibird, otherwise I'll be forced into using the minigun. As an Assaultron, that is not an option. Did a superhero landing, ran through the water level to Fort Strong and was punished for previous mistakes. All of the super mutants, including Grumble, were not an issue. The problem was the behemoth. Even with 400 plus rounds, I could not kill the behemoth. I opted to clear out the fort first and leave the behemoth a problem for future me. Past me is an asshole. Future me, who is now past me, is a beta for even going along with this, and present me is laughing at the thought of future me trying to edit this nonsense script into a watchable video. Inside the fort, Marilyn, Stinkface, and the gang tried their best. It wasn't good enough. Then I got a genius idea. If I equipped a Dance with the missile launcher and Fat Man that I'm not allowed to use, then he could do a significant enough damage for me to take down the behemoth. This might have worked, but Dance cannot shoot for shit. Instead, with my back to the wall, I had one last strategy at my disposal. For the 10 minutes this fight took, I lowered the difficulty from very hard to hard. I may have defeated the behemoth and returned to very hard, but the universe was not happy with my cheating. Down in the church's basement, a few people ran a train on me. I rode that railroad for my own personal gain and said, "See you later." Went back to the nerd in the cave. He made me plans for a transporter, more than meets the eye. In exchange, I tried to see if he can die. He currently cannot. Spoke to Father Eyeshadow. He told me to talk to Mommy Machine. Legs the Wonder Girl told me to steal some things from a hospital. I told her it's not stealing if I never told them my name. Instead, I went to church to get the opinion of the big man upstairs. Talking through the voices in my head, God told me to heal the woman suffering from Tourette's. God works in mysterious ways, because he knows I'm only capable of helping to quicken the suffering of others. Back at the airport, I helped Margaret Thatcher finish her doomsday device. I needed to speak to Maxon, but he locked the door. Little did he know, just like a speed limit or an issuance to stay 50 meters from a school zone, the laws of physics are simply suggestions. Iron Woman zapped me with her machine and I awoke in the Institute. Threatened a child with war crimes, met someone who called himself Daddy, used a library computer to click on pop-ups. Talked to Dr. Madison Lee and was blackmailed into helping her. Explored the employees only section and fought one of my Assaultron sisters. I'm still recovering from that. Got the proof she needed and convinced her to join my team. Tried to leave the Institute. I wasn't allowed until I said hi to all of my aunts and uncles. Didn't get that on camera either, so use your imagination. This is the Paint by Numbers episode. Gave Virgil his serum and myrtleized him before it could take effect. Back at the Hindenburg, Ingram, who told me to threaten Dr. Lee, she might not have said that, but I did threaten Dr. Lee, got told to go to the hospital, had a close run-in with Private Parts, but managed to make it to Milton Hospital. Inside of the hospital, I did things to the robot attendants that I'm technically not allowed to tell you. I did get the magnets, though. I was instructed to actually build some actual actuators in actuality. Next came Robbie Boucher's foosballs. Journeyed across the glowing sea to the Sentinel site. Fought a horde of ghouls. Not Harold was not a problem. And suddenly, I was punished for my tomfoolery. Because I lowered the difficulty to survive the behemoth in the fight 2 pages ago, Todd Howard made me have to go back and speak to Gomer Pyle before I could touch the precious bombs. At Waypoint Echo, I was gifted one of those vaccine tracking devices Cousin Carl is always shouting about on Facebook. If I was his wife, I would have kidnapped the childs and left him too. A disappointingly empty Sentinel site brought only hardship. I killed a religious zealot, which is never an issue. My problem came with the fact that I had to fight a fellow Steelskin. An Assaultron should never have to fight a sister. With Liberty Prime all ready to go, I was clued in on a horrible conspiracy. Paladin Dance is actually a filthy halfie. A man trapped inside a machine that was actually a machine trapped inside a man trapped inside a machine. I draw the line there. Anyone who willingly decides to be human instead of machine is scum. I shot his face hole before he could open it. Machines for life, am I right, ladies? If you think about it, men are soft and squishy, while machines can go as long as they're powered. Returned to the railroad to fulfill my promise of seeing them later. Illiteracy reared its ugly head when I could not follow simple instructions. Proceeded to kill every member of the railroad with extreme prejudice. I called every last one of them sweat stains, Neanderthals, and water drinkers while I gave them all the big sleep. Sam, meet Pam. Pam, meet amnesia. Dr. Olivia Pierce and I took a gondola ride to Mass Fusion. I thought it would be impossible to do this section without firing the minigun. After waiting 10 minutes, I started shooting, felt guilty, then started over. Did nothing for 15 minutes and successfully passed. I don't really need to keep going into detail. You know what happened. I genocided a whole tower of synths. This build got stupidly overpowered like 3 pages ago. Once I got solar powered too, I basically became an unstoppable killing machine. Really, the only things working against me are my inability to aim properly, coupled with my finite reserve of ammunition. Grab the beryllium agitator. The Institute tried its best. It's cute that they tried. Once the walls fell silent, I went outside and met a human arguing with a half-human. I shot one of them. Can't remember which. Then I shot the other one for the sake of fairness. Finally. We're in the end game now, ladies. I powered up Liberty Prime, made a quick bed and took a small nap. Then it was time for me and Daddy to take a walk. Got some really cool action shots of me and my father figure. The Institute was deep in denial at this point. One of the encounters sprained my game again. Then the final climax of this playthrough. The moment of poetic justice all the game trailers had hinted towards. I had encountered so many behemoths who were absolute bullies to me, but oh man, it was as beautiful as I dreamed it would be. When Daddy saw my schoolyard bully, he picked them up and frickin' chokeslammed them. I've never seen that animation before. I've also never sided with the Brotherhood before on account of how woke I am. Wave after wave of synths were slaughter, but eventually lesson was learned. In rock, paper, scissors, laser on Earth, do not collect Go. Do not pass $200. Reaching level 35, I slapped that perk point on Bloody Mess. If my aunt and my mother were the same person, this is the segue I would use to tell you to slap the like button. If you're enjoying my suffering, you can gently caress your mouse and navigate to the like button. Maybe even give it a little clicky poo. I don't remember much about this part at all. Obviously, I killed everything that found itself in my field of view, but all I really remember was thinking about ways to kill Sean with maximum disrespect. This was thwarted by me taking 3 minutes and 1 second trying to find a whole person in 3 rooms. The encounter was so awkward that I just shot him in the face without saying anything. Me and the girls unmortaled some things that were never lives to begin with. Fought some monkeys. As a character, this was no issue. As a person, this still wasn't an issue. These are video game gorillas. What do you take me for? In the basement, I found the Institute's biggest weakness. What Socrates might have called their Bart Simpson. They had a radiation shower. This meant I was free to use my face laser without repercussions. Planted the explosives. Was reminded of my awkward exchange with Sean when I saw his tiny defenseless face. I told that kid to kick rocks. Teleported to the cigarette store. Tried to take an action movie explosion picture and failed. I Wise Man once said coming soon to home video, and they were right. So I went to Diamond City to finish what I started. At 6:30 a.m. on a Thursday. Maybe it was a Tuesday. Regardless, it was a day, and it was one that they would never forget, as I began the robotic war on humanity and beat Fallout 4 as an Assaultron. This run was only mildly painful. I think I did alright, but please comment what you think my final score was. I plan on doing more challenge runs on different games, and if you'd like to see that, subscribing will keep you informed. If you enjoyed this, leave a like, and if you didn't, leave a dislike. Shout out to the Knights Amalgam, who fund my shenanigans on Patreon. I'll see ya when I see ya.